Jesus today sounds very much like an Old Testament prophet. Now, why would I say that? Well, Old Testament prophets seem to talk oddly sometimes. We find them hard to understand. They say things that are strange. And the Hebrew word for prophet is nabi. And those who speak Hebrew tell me that there's a nuance to that word, nabi. It kind of means crazy, madman. And we look at the Old Testament prophets, and yeah, a lot of them seem kind of crazy, don't they? They seem kind of like off kilter. But if you look at it a different way, it's not the prophets that are off center, it's the world. When you speak truth in a world that's out of balance, out of center, you're going to sound crazy because it's not in alignment with what the world says. And so consequently, you're level, straight, right, but the world is this way. Everybody sees you, however, as this way. And we hear Jesus today saying, give up everything, sell and give to the poor. And we're going, are you serious? How could I do that? How could I do that? And it relates back to something that Thomas Aquinas once said. If you look into the Gospels, and if you look into the Bible in general, you will find that when people go wrong, it's because of bad worship. They worship the wrong things, right? Our culture today pretty much worships all the wrong things. We pray to our cell phones more than we pray to God, for instance, right? We have our heads down over those. But think of the things that we're tied to. You know, we're not tied to our church. We're not addicted to our church. We don't worship our God. We worship things like money, power, pleasure. And here, Jesus has a young man in front of him who's worshiping his wealth, just like many of us do. And the problem with worshiping those kinds of things, money, power, pleasure, prestige, is that they sooner or later fail you. They're like addictions. You know, money. We'll just use money for an example, right? You get a little money, you need more money. You get a car, you need a nicer car. You get a house, you need a nicer house. We always can never, and it doesn't last. It just doesn't last. Any of those things that we talk about. You don't ever get enough. You're constantly, as like an addiction, constantly needing more. You know, you get your first million, you got to have your second million. And then you see people that have billions of dollars and what? They're not happy. It's because it wears off. The addiction wears off. Jesus is saying today to this young man, get rid of your addiction. Sell everything you have. Give it to the poor and come and follow me. And then you will be happy. And isn't it interesting? When the young man is told, you need to get rid of your wealth, you need to get rid of your addiction, he goes into withdrawal. I can't do that. And he walks away. My brothers and sisters, there is only one thing that satisfies, and that's Jesus Christ.